Hey, Steve Magnante here at High-Octane Classics in Auburn, Massachusetts. Now, everybody knows that the Pontiac GTO kind of launched the muscle car craze in the 1960s, 1964 through 1974. This is a 1973 GTO, one-year offering for many reasons. Now, of course, the party was pretty much over by 1973 when this car was launched. And what we'll see on this one here is big government-mandated crash bumpers, 5 mile per hour bumper in the front and 2.5 mile per hour bumper in the back. So unsightly but mandated by Uncle Sam. Got to have it. But also one-year hood on this thing right here, the NACA style. Not functional with an asterisk, we'll get to that in a second, but these are not functional NACA duct scoops right here, which are very different from previous GTOs, which would have been more surface mounted with openings at the front when they were functional with ram air systems. And these are not workable, but apparently 2 or 3 cars were built with functional NACA ducts. There's sort of a bit of controversy on that, but there's at least 1 or 2. I've seen one in Hemmings Muscle Machines a couple of issues back, and these can be functional when you have the right parts, but they're basically non-existent. Now, production on these cars was about equal to 1972, which was the final year for the 68 through 72 body style. And this one here was one of 4,806 built right here. So sales were way down, about equal to 1972. Again, the party was over versus the 90,000 in the 1960s, late 60s, when sales were going crazy and the muscle car boom was still very much in effect. But other things that are new for 1973, one-year body. This is the Colonnade body style. Of course, Chevrolet, Oldsmobile, and Pontiac all shared this. And the point was, safety standards mandated by the federal government mandated rollover crash protection. So the Colonnade body style was meant to be stiffer if the car wound up on its lid. And it worked, but again, no convertibles for 1973 or ever after on the GTO. So here it is right here, the Colonnade body style. This is something kind of cool. This one's called the Sport Coupe. There was a coupe which did not have these louvers. The Sport Coupe did. The majority of these things were built with this right here, which must have been a nightmare to try and clean that side window, but there it is. They're very slick, very sexy. Good looking design right here. But again, first year for the GTO on the Colonnade body style right here. Went a few more years, but the GTO would change into something altogether different from 1974. The Nova-based 350 shaker-equipped GTO, another story from another time. But anyway, inside this one we see something kind of cool. And while these were available with 3-speed manuals, yes, you get a 3-speed or the automatic. This one has the more desirable 4-speed M20 wide ratio aluminum case transmission. There's a 4-speed shifter, the console in the middle, bucket seats of course, and the GTO logos proudly emblazoned on the doors right here to let the passenger and driver know that they're in the great one, the GTO, which of course was Italian for Gran Turissimo Omologato, the 62 Ferrari GTO, but that's what GTO means. Of course, Pontiac co-opted the phrase for their sleek muscle car version of the same. The 455 was an option, but never with the 4-speed. If you got a 455 right here, automatic only. But this is the 400 cubic inch Pontiac engine with 230 horsepower, net horsepower. Pretty potent. It'll get your attention for sure. No sunroof on this one, which is good. And of course, no shaker hood. That was a provenance of the Trans Am, the Firebird Trans Am. So GTO never got that until 74 with the Nova-based car. So again, another story for another time. Let's look around. This one here, the wheels on this are a little wider than stock, but the baby hubcaps, that's absolutely base wheel trim on the GTO. You could also get the honeycombs and the super stock 2 wheels on these things, but this is basically what you had in base trim. And a nice example, pewter silver, and inside the trunk, let's have a peek. And again, the GTO logo right here. It's a decal at this point in time, no more metal emblems. But again, the rear bumper is, you can see it stands proud of the body. Again, this is the 2.5 mile per hour impact standard right here, and it has urethane spacers right here. So theoretically, within 24 hours, the hydraulic cylinders, the nitrogen charged cylinders would push the bumper back out in a mild impact at the tail of the car. So again, the government, they're not good at designing cars, but they impose their will on the public and the car makers with things like this. The Colonnade rollover protection right there, but it's a sleek design, looks good, but it's kind of subjective. I think these are fantastic looking cars. And inside the trunk, which is quite large, lots of room for all kinds of stuff, and could put a a lot of groceries or luggage in the back of this and hit the road in grand touring omologato fashion, as they say in Italy, and kind of a cool thing. Lots of trunk, very nice restoration. This one here, minimal mileage. I don't see any signs of accident or rust damage. It's a pretty clean Survivor that's been made very nice with an excellent restoration. Now, getting back to the 455 engine, now in Pontiac Firebird and Formula Land in 1973 and 4, there was something called the 455 Super Duty, rare as heck. Were they ever put into these cars? Well, no. But with that said, this is Road Test Magazine's 73 New Car Special right here from back my archive here. But inside of this, they give you the rundown of all the nifty new Pontiacs. And here we have it, you know, the Catalina, the full-size cars. But that thing, that white car is called the Grand Am, which is a big brother to the GTO. But if you look on the front fender, 455 Super Duty, they absolutely built at least one, and these are proving grounds cars and or media cars. So there was a 455 Super Duty installed in the Grand Am. You can actually get a Grand Am as a 4-door with a 4-speed, but again, the 455 was strictly an automatic transmission offering, except for in the Firebird line, the Trans Am. So kind of cool right here, the past speaking to us in the present tense. And of course, again, just nice restoration. I just went to dual exhaust. By this point in time, the BOP rear axle had been changed out for the GM corporate 8.5-inch axle. Pretty tough piece. We find one on this one here. Rear sway bar, anti-roll bar, and heavy-duty suspension, which is part of the GTO package. Of course, the heavy-duty frame option was gone after 1972 because no more convertible frame types to employ under the coupe GTOs, which was an option back in 72, back to 67, 64, the heavy-duty frame. But again, wasn't a need for it because they didn't offer a convertible frame or a convertible GTO in 1973. So that's the story of this 1973 Pontiac GTO, one of about 4,806 built. The majority of them were sport coupes like this one here with the louvers, and the 400 cubic inch V8 under the hood is also in the majority on these cars back in the day. So to learn more about this car, go to the high-octane Classics website and check out the photo gallery.